Jesus for 30 years carried a lunchbox to work. Humble, obscure. And he pulls, when the time was right, it starts his ministry, is already getting towards the end of his ministry, has his 3 guys, Peter, James, and John, and says, guys, there's something I've got to show you. There's something you need to see about it. I am no marginalized, humble, poor, homeless, Galilean peasant. I am the King of Kings. I am the Lord of Lords. This is the same image you see of Christ in Revelation, the Lamb that was slain in radiant clothes, with swords coming out of his mouth, with fire in his eyes. This is who I am. This is who you need to see. I emptied myself when I came into human history, so I could die for the sins of the world. But you need to know something, that one of these days every knee will bow, every tongue will confess, because I am King of Kings and Lord of Lords. Before me there is no other. I am God. I am no peasant. I've humbled myself. I've come into human history, but before Abraham was, I am. And Moses saw my glory in the crack of this rock. He just saw a glimpse of my glory. And now you're looking at the face of the glory of God when you look at me. If you have seen me, you've seen the Father. And I am King of Kings, and I am Lord of Lords. I am no Jewish peasant. One of these days, all the things that Habakkuk talked about, all the things that the Old Testament prophets talked about, ruling this earth from his throne, that is me. I'm not just a prophet. I'm not just a teacher. I'm not just a carpenter. I am King, victorious King of Kings and Lord of Lords. This is the image that we see of Christ in the book of Revelation. And friends, this is the Jesus that you will stand before one of these days. You see, in our culture, we like to paint Jesus as Mr. Rogers with a beard, a gay hippie that likes to have pithy little sayings, a limp-wristed sky fairy. You watch some of the cartoons and the TV shows and even some of the well-intentioned movies that have been made of Jesus as this feathered-haired, Brad Pitt-looking Mother Teresa with a beard. But I am telling you, you are going to stand before the transfigured Jesus one of these days. King of Kings and Lord of Lords. And you need to know that. And your friends and your family and your neighbors and everybody that you come in contact with. The Bible says that at the end of time, he is going to line everybody in front of him. And if you end up at the great white throne judgment, you've got no one to blame but yourself. After hearing what you're hearing this morning, you've got no one to blame but yourself. And if you belong to Jesus, you're going to be with the sheep. And if you don't belong to Jesus, you're going to be put over here with the goats. And you will be judged. Jesus Christ is your judge. People say in our culture, well, I don't like to be judged. You're not like, I am not your judge. You come, we'll love on you. I don't care what your problems are, but I love you enough to tell you, Jesus is going to judge you. And you will be declared one of 2 things. Innocent by the blood of the Lamb, or guilty of treason and rebellion against God. This is the Jesus that you will stand before. My friends, Jesus came into human history 2,000 years ago, and he will never take another beating. He will never have his beard ripped out of his face again. He will never be smacked and blindfolded again. He will never have a crown of thorns put on his head again. He will never have a spear or a sword stabbed in his side again. He will never go to another cross. He will never be mocked. He will never be spit upon. He will never be punched. He will never be betrayed. Again. That was a one-time deal. And we better surrender to him while he may be found. This is who Jesus is. And he's showing Peter and James and John, this is who you're dealing with. This is who you're dealing with. this, when you take my gospel to the ends of the earth, you remember this. First reason, and always the most important reason, Jesus wants us to be aware of his glory. And if you love him, you are commissioned to go and share the glory of God and be a beacon for the glory of God on this planet. That's what you're here for.